Alright, what's going on, everybody? Sorry for the wind. If you're having trouble hearing me, I'm sorry. I got pushed off my trenching job. I had to come out to this one of my commercial accounts. I do a bunch of gas stations, and we're having some roofing issues. I really don't do flat roofs, but right now I'm in a crunch, and I could kind of use the money. They've got some random leaks that they actually don't even know about the random leaks. There is actually one crucial one. I'm going to point out the leak, and then I'm going to go over what these roofing guys do and these heating and air guys and all these guys do up here on rooftops that just make it worse for your roof. And they're supposed to be professionals. So, but here's the leak that they're having. You can see that there is a piece of metal stuck on here. Actually, this is the collar to a piece of EMT pipe, but here's the leak. I've gone ahead and found the leak, so it's going in through the inside. This was kind of adhered down, but this buckle was right here. Someone had a cinder block sitting on this. That cinder block right there was sitting on this cap right here, this plug. So long and behold, they don't really know about the other ones, but actually this is really nicely tucked. The patch guy that came in here and redid this one did a really good job on this. I don't know what happened. When he moved over to this one, it started getting sloppy. As you can see, I mean, the line is right there for the end of this, so it started getting really sloppy. And then we move over to this one, and lo and behold, we actually have a hole right here. And you can see where all the paint's been washed off, that no one's ever cleaned this up. It's just being tarred over. So I need to dry all this out like real nicely, so I have a torch. But this is the prime example I'm talking about with contractors and stuff. A professional roofer isn't gonna leave this shit up here. Pardon my language, but this is bullshit. You walk around on this roof, screw. Here's an area where it looked like someone dropped the whole thing of fucking screws. Look at all these. And you walk on these and they'll stab holes in the roof, and now you got a pinhole leak. You're gonna find dead birds up here. Most of the time when you find a dead animal up here, it's either they got trapped up here, and or most of the time with the birds is they ate a contaminated animal. They ate something that was poisonous, and then they fly up here. They start getting weak, and they don't have the ability to fly down. They sit up here and they literally cook themselves up here on these rooftops. This stuff's uncalled for. I mean, this is just all uncalled for. We have a plumbing guy downstairs doing some work, so I think he might have been actually loosening the pipes up because he's been banging on it pretty good. But this seam line is bad. You can see where the vents here all been squished down from someone climbing up here. They do that, yeah, there is a Dunkin' Donuts here, so they do that cop on a rooftop thing. And I think this is from officers standing on this shit, which is uncalled for. They have hosted it here for a few years. There was a whole 4x8 sheet of plywood here that was all rotted up. As you can see, just the wind's blowing it all over the place. I went ahead and here's all the garbage that's up here. There's still shit underneath this unit. I have to run these drains out to here so that way they can dump outside and stop mucking up the roof here, so the roof can actually stay dry. I do have to seal all these joints up. All these joints are all leaking. But again, minus the gloves, this milk crate's just full of scrap steel. This is all tar paper, anti-fatigue matting and stuff like that. This garbage can's full of rocks. As you can see, rocks and some of the loose plywood that just kept flying around. Actually, one hit me, so I got pissed off, threw it all in the can. Here's another sheet of plywood that I had found. More matting and shit. There's some broken cinder blocks. The other thing is, this is done by an antenna guy. You put this anti-fatigue matting shit on here, what it does is it creates mud.
literally mud. And this is the anti-fatigue mat.
So technically, right now I'm in the midst of talking to the property owner and having the satellite guy come out. I'm going to have him relocate his dish to the center part of the roof here, so we can go ahead and clear this area up and address the leaks that are here. There are two underneath here that I have found myself that have broken joints. One is right center right in the middle there. I poured some water and the water's not dissipating left or right. It's actually going right down the middle. And my client just told me that they just got rained on them. Right here, this is a good idea. This is what you should put. Something like this. You just want to usually put something a little thicker that has a lot higher of a rib, so that way you can actually have stuff move underneath it. You're not going to be worried about vermin like rats or mice or anything like that. They won't have the ability to get up here unless if there's a tree to climb around. Here's another prime example. You can see by the way the water's built up right here. This is all uncalled for. So what I'm doing right now is giving them a quote to go ahead and patch this section. This section's bad right here. There's a lot of the joints right here where they mended the paper together. It just isn't done right. I have to address all these drains, these 4 drains up here. There's 1, 2, 3, and then 4 over there in the very corner. Get rid of the dead birds. There's 2 of them right there. These ones probably nested up in here and they probably got injured. Actually, matter of fact, shit, I gotta report this one. This one's actually a registered bird. These are things that you look for too. I'm a one-man outfit. A lot of people say I kind of act unprofessional. I'm a dirty guy at times. I try to shower regularly, but whatever. So, long and behold, I don't cut corners, so I'll even report the collar on that bird's leg. I report everything to my customer of everything that I see that can be a potential hazard and or a potential issue in the future. If you do it right the first time, I'm never going to have to come back on this fucking rooftop again. He is going to need a new tarring up here. Unfortunately, it just needs to be done. This rooftop just needs to be completely repapered. And he should be going with a white surface. With the white surface, it's less energy costs on the building, so the sun rays are reflected, so it has a higher reflection rate than the black does. So the black's gonna get your roof a lot hotter versus the white. The white's gonna keep your roof a lot cooler during the summertime, but it kind of defeats the purpose during the winter time. So a lot of times, usually what I tell everybody is you're gonna do a white roof and do black joints. And if you do black lines on your roof, that will give you a little bit of warmth on the roof during the winter time to help melt snow and everything. Due to the fact that it's a commercial building, you really don't have to worry about it too much because the place is going to be under constant heat and cooling 24/7, 365 days a year. So you're really not having to worry about thawing everything, but you can just help the cost of the building having to work as hard. Another thing is it drives me goddamn insane of how much contractors can cut corners and stuff like that. If this was an outdoor joint, if this was an outdoor box put in properly, this outdoor box, you wouldn't need to go ahead and plaster all this up. You can go ahead and see that there's another leak right here. Due to the fact that you have this leak right here, this leak right here is going to be causing problems. Well, this is a fucking patch. You can see the square cut out right here. Well, it's probably an EMT box. Well, this EMT box is probably leaking as well. Obviously, I pointed it out. The backside's leaking on this side. So right here, that's a patch. Just not done right. You don't put
a patch in the same size of what the hole is. You're going to want to do 4 times the size, between 1.5 to 5 times the size of what the actual patch is. So when I do this patch section, I'm going to go ahead and do 1 solid patch around this whole thing. I'll make sure it's all tarred up nice, and I'm going to go ahead and taper it up against the building here, so that way I can get the water to move away. Another big issue I'm really finding on this rooftop is, and it's not just this rooftop, this is every building I go on to. These are outdoor speakers right here. And with these outdoor speakers, you can see that they've gone ahead and smeared a bunch of silicone caulk. Well, that's obviously a clear sign that this isn't made for outdoors. If it's described for outdoors, you don't need to do this stuff. Another thing is when your unit's starting to get old, the plugs are going to start, all the screw plugs are going to start melting and boiling. You can go ahead and see where the joints are leaking all around this. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm actually going to end up recommending to the customer to go ahead and we're going to remove these speakers. But this is what I was talking about though. This is why you don't, if you're going to put something on a rooftop, you got to understand this rooftop's going to get up to like 300 something degrees, even hotter. I mean, we can cook eggs on this surface right here, but you can see all the wires all breaking and has become brittle. This stuff has become exposed for so long that the wire is actually turning white, and the black wire is actually turning like a silver gray. So it's just things like this. This stuff's uncalled for. You can go ahead and see where they teamed it up here. They tried to tape it up to look nice. Something like this, it just shouldn't have been ran like this. You don't just hang it off the side there. Second off is what you get is called chafing, and the wire is going to chafe on the back side here. And this is a metal surface, so as this thing keeps going back and forth, it's going to go ahead and make a contact, and then it's going to go ahead and short whatever these are contacted to, and or cause a fire. Again, there's joints and stuff like that that are leaking, that they don't know that are even leaking right now. They're actually running down parts of the walls that are not visible. So, and I know they're leaking because the water's puddling out, draining out somewhere, because I've gone ahead and done a water test. These screws and everything, so I'm going to go ahead and clean this roof up. This puddling right here naturally won't happen if this unit right here is drained out over here. And the same thing with this unit right here. This won't happen if this unit is drained out through here. It's just something that should have been done. Another thing is, like, this isn't good for your units and stuff like that, because see, go ahead, look at that. I can take the screen right off. So that means an animal has got the ability to go ahead and climb right into this unit and make a nest. And then when that fan kicks on there, the condensing fan kicks on, well, whatever's in here is gonna fucking panic, and then it's gonna go ahead and get chewed up. But it looks like the reason is because someone stood on top of this unit. So again, this is just, you can see where all the poop is from the birds and everything going underneath there. So they're just chilling right there on that pipe, and they're just pooping right there, and then they're probably flying up onto the ledge and then flying out of here. So again, this is all stuff that can be addressed and done properly if you do it right the first time. So I'm gonna go ahead and give them their price to go ahead and give them new speaker wires, remove these speakers. I do believe they are Jensen's. No, they're Kupak or something like that, some fucking Chinese brand. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and tell them that we need to remove the speakers from the roof. I need to go ahead and caulk these joints up. I need to fill these. This was in my initial quote, was to fix all of the existing leaks, but not to re-roof this whole fucking roof, which this whole roof needs to be re-roofed. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna go ahead and start cleaning all the joints. I have an air compressor. I'll blow out all around the joints and everything, and then I'll go ahead and I have a rubberized roofing tar that I'm gonna go ahead and, I mean, you can tell which side is owned by a different vendor almost, it seems like, because this is the rented side of the building, technically. This is per se the actual rented side of the building. So they've gone ahead and they keep fixing and making sure the renters are happy, but the actual owned part of the building, they're cutting corners. And they hired me, my company, 3 months ago, and they have 11 locations, and they're just sick of getting ran around and people just using them for everything. Me, I'm not here for the money. I'm here more or less for the consistent work. So long story short, a lot of this stuff is preventative. You're gonna get the random stuff that people throw up here from off the streets, because you got kids and stuff like that that like to throw shit up on the buildings. A lot of them like to throw shit up here at the windows. You can see where stuff has made contact with the windows on here. So actually looking through the windows, it looks like they've got two officially declared bad windows that have broken gas chambers. So, but here's another leak right here, is what I was talking about with the joints. Just wasn't done right. Took a little bit more time to clean up and prep this stuff, and it would have been nice. All the joints on joints of the new stuff is all actually really good. They did a good job. The only thing I'm running into, though, again, is it's the fact that these guys still weren't even as professional. As you can see, the further they went along, as they moved out of here to get ready to pack up and get the fuck out of here, you can see where they just started cutting corners. I really don't know what this is. Is this a scrap? I mean, leave a comment. What do you think that is, guys? I mean, I think they just used scraps, what they had left in scraps. I found 3 pieces of the paper left up here of this stuff, and I think they just gave up, because this is technically where actually the renter stops right here. So they could have actually, with those pieces that they had, technically would have made it up to here. So I don't know, what do you guys think? I mean, that's a shovel mark. That's clearly a shovel mark. Someone probably picking at ice. But other than that, guys, this is where I'm at right now for today. I'm gonna get all this shit done today. Tomorrow I'm back to trenching. I have to run out to that trenching job site and go ahead and get the pumps and the wells to get them drained out, so that way I can go ahead and have the ability to finish trenching. The trencher's getting stuck. So, but it's just stupid stuff that can be preventative maintenance up here. So this should be drained out to right there. Avoid this puddling on the rooftop. I do have composite lumber for this unit, so I'm gonna go ahead and prop this unit up. And I do have I have a 4x4 by 8 foot piece of plastic, the high composite plastic, the high compression recycled plastic. So I'm going to use that up here, so that way we don't have rotting wood or anything like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and actually asphyxiate the screws to this unit. But before I put it down, I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to the roof. A lot of things that guys don't do is, when you're going to go ahead and put when you're going to put a rooftop unit down and you're going to use a timber like this, you need to use a roofing cement before you put this thing down, because what you're doing is you're trapping water underneath this, and then the water's naturally going to erode away. And when it erodes away, then you're going to create leaks that are underneath this. You can see the green growing on the roof here from the moss and algae. People leave a comment. Do you think that's okay? I don't think that's okay, and I know that's not okay. What's this unit sitting on? This unit's sitting on is what is called a pedestal, or a stand. A pre-manufactured stand that has vents already made into it. If you notice, there's nowhere for the water to go underneath that unit. Well, right here, the water has the ability to get underneath this unit and stay here. So in the wintertime when it freezes, it's actually picking this unit up. So what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna roof cement these things down. And what I recommend is if you're gonna use a wood, I would recommend slathering this thing up in roof cement before you go ahead and place your unit in place. Before you asphyxiate your unit in place, because the fact that, again, is that sitting flush on the roof? No. Is this sitting flush on the roof? Yes, it is. Is that creating this underneath that? Yes, it is. So people are creating problems of their own by putting certain things up here. This is for a secondary cooler system for the renters. Their primary is over here. And again, I did move this stand here. I did put these cinder blocks here. This is temporarily right now, so they can go ahead and relocate their dish over to here. Get the dish placed in here so I can go ahead and re-roof this. After re-roofing this, we're gonna go ahead and move the dish back over to here, a little bit over towards the building, so we can go ahead and take these wires, which naturally should be like this. If you notice anything on the rooftop for actual units and wires and stuff like that, if you notice they run parallel up against the building, they're asphyxiated to the side of the building. When you leave it on the roof like this, you're cooking the egg. If you actually asphyxiate the wire to the side here, I can hold my finger on this thing all day and I won't burn myself. You cannot touch this roof all day without burning yourself. So technically what I'm going to have them do is take this dish and move this dish all the way back to here. And then we're going to asphyxiate the wires along the side here and then run them down over to their port. The other thing about it, again, I don't know why they ran these wires through this junction box like this, but this is fucking stupid. This should be run through a cap. I'll show you. Should be run through a cap like this over here. Sorry, I don't edit or cut corners on my videos. This should be ran through a cap like this, and this is called a roof nipple. So what it is these are asphyxiated here. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna roof this piece on here, and then once it's roofed in, then you can go ahead and punch your hole, and then you can put this back on here like this, and guess what? It's done. And you're fitting whatever collar you have would naturally slide over this, and then you cut your hole here so you naturally slide the collar. If your pipe's a little bigger, well then you cut this nipple off and then you go to the next collar. If your pipe's even bigger, you go to there. Example. But you're never going to want to go flush with this. That's the reason why these nipples stick up like this. I've had guys tell me they're called udder caps. I call them nipple caps, utility nipple caps. Prime example, done correctly, ready to have something installed in it. This soil stack right here should per se have some form of cap on it. It fights the promotion of wanting birds and stuff like to get into it. Prime example, like these soil stacks, these two soil stacks have vents on them, so that won't hurt to have these on here. It's not going to harm anything. But again, this wasn't done right. One of those utility ports should have been put in. So what I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk to my customer about putting a utility port in here. He's going to have to pay some more, but that's going to be something that's going to have to be put in with the roof price. The roof does need to be replaced and or repapered. And honestly, I think I would just do a repaper on this. The roof doesn't look that bad. Use a good prepper, scrub this roof down, clean it up real good, and then go ahead and repaper it. And see, like, if you keep your roof clean, and you keep all your joints sealed, you'll prevent the promotion of these stupid fucking wasps and hornets and stuff like that. They're only going to want to live in the rooftop units, and actually a lot of people don't even really realize it, and a lot of heating and air guys don't even know it. They do put a pesticide on the paint of these units, and it is to prevent bees and wasps and everything to want to naturally grow a nest on here. If you do get them that are growing in there, most of the time they've found a spot that has a chip in the paint Like right here. They'll attach their nest off of this and then they'll grow onto it. As long as they can't glue themselves to the actual paint. My dad, my whole entire family, my father, they all do heating and air conditioning, and that's part of Lennox and Carrier and Goodman and everybody like that. Russell and everybody like that. They all want to promote you to not have to work hard on these units. They want to get you up on the rooftop, get it fixed, get it done, and get out. Again, you can go ahead and see where they've duct taped this. You can see this is missing the screen. There is a screen that goes in right here, so you can see where it's missing the cage. So I do need to give them a price for that too, to going ahead and getting a screen put up over this, underneath this hood, so that way they can start venting into the building and not promoting birds to living inside. So alright guys, well, stay tuned. Sorry for the long video and the rambling, but again, this is all the shit that you're going to find on a rooftop that you can tell that there's been delinquents up here that don't know what they're doing and are very unprofessional. Every rooftop I've been on, when I'm up here, if I can clean up a mess, I'll clean up a mess. If I can bill for it, I'll bill for it. If I can't, then oh well. But I don't want to come up here and then be held accountable for leaving something up here that should not be up here. It's just plain and simple. This is just poor craftsmanship. The guys that did this roof obviously didn't take too much concern because they didn't realize that there's a fucking low spot right here. And it would have been visible from what the owner says. It was a low spot here and it was actually leaking into these vents. So they went ahead and resolved that problem. Yes, I'd say it's still puddling. The problem's been solved, but still puddling. A lot of the lots got to do with that vent flooding out here, so this naturally would evaporate through daylight, but because of constant water source, this is what's created up here. So it's just, this stuff can be all prevented. So stay tuned to the next one. Catch you guys in the next one. Later.